need to learn to go there. And we need to not be afraid to go there. Opening those doors again is just how we allow the Lord to go there. And we want him to see it and to touch it and be with us in it all. Hey, I'm Father Mark Mayer with the Franciscan Friars of the Renewal, and this is Ascension Presents. You want relational prayer, right? You want intimacy with God, right? Like you want to experience him at the deepest core of your being and your heart in a way that's experiential, right? We want him to have access to all areas of our heart. But there's this phenomena that's just true, is that in a certain sense, we have to give him access. Like in the deepest, spiritual sense, by baptism, he dwells within 100%. But in another level, it's like we want him to have access to our whole heart and our feelings and everything that's going on. But essentially, we have the keys to those doors, and we need to learn that those doors are there. We need to learn to open those doors, and then we need to let Jesus into those areas of our life and our heart, right? There's a way in which we talk about prayer. A lot of people talk about prayer using ARRR, this pray like a pirate thing. It's like an awareness, relating it, and I think it's like receive, respond. And we kind of mention it and kind of move on in passing. But in my work, particularly with young men, particularly as, a man, we need to just stop and spend a lot of time on that A part. We really need to develop this habit and this skill, because for a variety of reasons, some of them good reasons, we just don't always go there. But again, I really believe that if we want total, the fullness of the intimacy with God, the fullness of a relational prayer with God, we just need to be able to communicate, to know and to communicate what's going on. And so some of what this would look like in prayer is, I am really hurt by this. Lord, this situation scares me. Lord, the fact that I'm experiencing all of these sort of things, it makes me sad. Lord, I am overwhelmingly grateful for this other thing. I am in wonder that this is happening. I am totally afraid and overwhelmed by this other thing. These are our hopes, our dreams, our fears, our joys, our excitements. These are some of those most profound doors that we want to unlock, that we want to open, that we want the Lord into, to have again the fullness of intimacy. Our Father, he wants it all. He wants to hear it all. He wants to be with you in it all. He wants to go there with you in it all. But again, just the way it works is we have to be able to give him access to it. And again, I think it's so important. It's actually so important that as I've worked with our postulants, the new friars who are beginning, who are some well on their way of their spiritual lives, we've been doing this thing a little bit different than spiritual direction, called spiritual mentorship, where we meet with them more or less every week for about 30 minutes. And really, the reason for it is just to give them a space to work this particular muscle, to give them the space to have to, on a regular basis, pay attention to, access, grow an awareness of, and then to communicate what's going on here. And again, so many folks, we don't do it, and it can be because we're afraid to go there. It can be because we've closed those doors off as a way of self-protection, as a sort of a numbing. For some guys, it can be just it doesn't feel masculine. It doesn't feel masculine to say, I'm hurt. It doesn't feel masculine to say, I need. Yeah, but it's, it's just not masculine to not have the fullness of the experience of God who makes you fully man, you know what I mean? So we just need to work and move that somewhere else, you know what I mean? What I would propose this looks like is, in your journaling, or in the beginning, say if you make a holy hour, or this is something really great you can do while you're just driving alone in your car and you want to pray, is to set aside a distinct period of time where this is what you're doing. So again, maybe it's at the beginning of a time of journaling, and you're just going to ask this question, what's going on interiorly? How am I doing interiorly? How am I feeling? Am I doing well? What are some of the emotions that I'm experiencing? What are some of the causes of these emotions? And now I communicate this to the Lord, right? Or again, I think it's a beautiful way to enter into holy hour of just, how am I doing? Sort of a heart check. you pay attention to this, you ask the Lord to lead you, and then you communicate it to him. Or again, like if you're just on a run or you're driving, you might look funny to the people next to you, but it's worth it. Of just Jesus is there, and like he's your best friend. Your Father is there, and he just wants to know what's going on. Just to communicate with him. Spend 10, 15 minutes before you turn on the radio, before you turn on a podcast, and just saying like, okay, here's how I'm feeling, here's what's going on. And it's so good for so many reasons. On the natural level, I deeply believe, like particularly men, your future girlfriend and wife is going to be really grateful that you have access to your heart and can communicate what's going on. Your future children are going to be really grateful that you have access to your heart, and you can know it and respond to it and communicate it in a healthy way. But your relationship with the Lord is just going to be like so blessed if, again, like you're able to access, to grow in this awareness and to communicate it. Again, if you're able to sort of develop the skill of taking the keys, opening up all of the doors, and letting the Lord see it all, letting the Lord receive it all, letting the Lord be with you in it all, and letting the Lord love you in it all. So my friends, I hope this is helpful. I think this is a great practice to take into our new year as we're developing different sort of habits and practices in the spiritual life. And again, I'm really grateful to be with you on this journey. Remember, we are pilgrims on this earth. Somos peregrinos, poco a poco, little by little. Vamos a llegar. We're going to make it. God bless y'all.